Hello again, everyone. I'm Gil Cloud, your host for Oklahoma Sportscene, brought to you by Jimmy's Egg. I'm sitting in for Chris Lincoln, who's on his patriotic tour up in the northeast of our United States. But to my left, J.V. Haney, the Hall of Fame coach and athletic director, and to my right, our good friend, the program director from 97.1, the sports animal, Kevin Warden. Kevin, welcome aboard.
Yeah, good to be here.
Glad to have you here.
Thank you.
Well, we got a great show, guys. We got Ken Hayes, former basketball coach at Northeastern State, the University of Tulsa, or Roberts University, New Mexico State. What a great lineup, JV.
And not only that, but we've got to mention that Ken Hayes started on a high school level and went all the way to the top. So a great guest that we're looking forward to.
I think one of the things about Ken is interesting. Started on the high school level, went to the junior college level, coached Division I, coached NAIA, coached Division II. Ken has been at all levels, other than Division III. He didn't make Division
And
III.
I think we could say he was successful in all of them.
Oh, there's no question. Over 60% of his games won.
Wow.
During that time, and what a great guest he was. And then we're going to have Kevin as one of our guests today, and tell us about everything going on at the Animal.
I'm excited to. So you want me to just kind of launch into
just a little bit
going on, or how we got started? Okay.
Yeah.
Well, obviously, football season getting started. We're about to get into this time of year where hockey will be going on, basketball will be going on, football, and of course the long baseball postseason. And on the Sports Animal, we'll have some of all of it. Given 7 radio stations, we've got a station for every sport.
There you go, absolutely. And also, we get to recognize our coach and student athlete of the month, JV.
Well, that's always a pleasure when you do that, because when you stop to look at it, Gil, that's a difficult job, because there's so many each week, each month that have done great. So that's tough.
It's a hard thick. I know that Barry Lewis from the Tulsa World and Henry Primeaux, who are our sponsor, they'll be here later on today. And of course, Henry will have some of his memorabilia, that he always brings, and that'll be exciting. We got a Remington report, the Oklahoma Derby this past weekend, and Chris Lincoln was at the Oklahoma City Thunder for their press conference to kick off their season. So, guys, let's get into our hot topics now. What do we got here going? College football. My gosh, what a weekend in college football. The close games. It's unbelievable, Kevin.
Well, Oklahoma Baylor wasn't so close, but what was interesting is even though you win by 33 points, the writers decide that you're still not very good and they drop you a spot in their poll. The coaches, in all their wisdom, kept them where they were after the near miss against Army, but then also kept them at number 5 after this week as well. Oklahoma State gets back into the AP again after their win over Kansas, which I thought was interesting that the writers were more impressed with OSU's win at Kansas than they were with Oklahoma's win at home against Baylor, which was by a bigger margin.
And that's amazing to me when you got Ohio State struggled. Of course, it was Penn State, and they're 2 top 10 teams, but they barely win that football game. And they moved to number 2.
Yeah.
I mean, sometimes I don't understand that, but
there's no logic involved.
None at all.
Gil, you're trying to think logically. That's where you're making your mistake.
Absolutely.
It seems to me like, though, and just watching college football anymore, that there is so much put on every game that you can't play at that peak for 12 games in a row. There's going to be one that you come down a little bit, and OU's already done that one.
Yeah.
So they're through with that.
But we had Merv Johnson here, and he told us that's going to be a heck of a football game.
Yes, he did.
And he was not wrong. He said they hold on to the football, and they did for 44 minutes. It was amazing how that game turned out. And then, of course, what's going on at Arkansas. They're 1-4, and I think the biggest debacle was the North Texas. That was tough, but A&M's pretty good, but A&M had to hold on, at the end.
Well, and I will remind Arkansas fans, as I already did today, Pat Jones, who is on the station, every weekday from 11 to 2, reminded our listeners that Frank Broyles started out 0-6 as head coach at Arkansas. So, pump the brakes a little bit, but it's hard for Arkansas fans to stomach that big bagel, on the front of that record.
Well, I'm going to tell you, I mean, that's one of the things that in Division I football anymore, the sense of urgency is now. We want to win right now. And, they were talking about 2 weeks ago firing Willie Taggart down at Florida State. He played 3 games, and they were going to fire him. Oh, my goodness, how in the world? He hadn't had a chance to recruit and everything. And, of course, Tulsa on Thursday night will be playing the University of Houston in Houston. And, of course, Tulsa 1-3, and Houston is 3-1. Baker Mayfield. What do we think about Baker Mayfield?
Unbelievable. Really. I thought for a while that he may not do what he's capable of doing, but he is doing better than he was capable of doing.
To step into Cleveland and to do that,
yes,
with their background over the past 3 years, 1-33 was their record going in, a near miss. And I understand, I didn't see the end of the game. I saw some of the game. It could have been.
Nobody in the state got to see the game.
It was the highlights. There was officiating situation that occurred
with a fumble,
instant replay, and so on. So those things are difficult to get through. But I think it's going to be okay. I think he's going to sit in and do a good job.
I agree with you, because there were times when I had my doubts. The way he had celebrated on the Ohio State deal, which I didn't think was necessary. But what he has done at Cleveland and the foundation he has laid, if he doesn't get hurt, there's no telling how far he'll go.
He can play. He has a lot of enthusiasm.
Well, Hard Knocks really helped him on the HBO series, no doubt. The number that really surprised me coming out of the Sunday game was the 21 of 41 passing. The fact that he barely had more completions than interceptions, because he's a much better thrower than that.
He is. But of course, I think the speed of the game, you step up to the NFL, and those defensive backs break on the ball a little bit quicker. And of course, we got the Dallas Cowboys win at the buzzer, with their new kicker, which I think when I looked at Jerry Jones in the box, and he stood up, and I think he's thinking, oh my God, thank you for making that kick. And Tiger Woods wins the FedEx, and we don't do very well in the Ryder Cup. Woo.
Boy, not very well. Every time I turned around watching the thing on Sunday, the Europeans were within 10 foot of the pin on their approach shots, whereas the Americans were, Dustin Johnson hits a 65-foot putt, and then he has to wait to see if his opponent misses his 8-footer in order to win the hole. Yeah. And it was like, man, that last day, that's what was going on. You knew it was going to be a tough road.
Oh, it was tough.
And the 6 or 8 foot putt missing by an inch.
Yeah,
so many of them.
There were a lot of them like that. Well, we had the Oklahoma Derby was at Remington Park, and Dale will have that report for us later in the show. And of course, we got Ken Hayes coming up, and some of the stories that he'll tell us about Bradley, Oklahoma, Bacone College, Northeastern, and all the other places he was. We're looking forward to it. This is Oklahoma Sportscene, brought to you by Jimmy's Egg.
Welcome to Jimmy's Egg. Come on in.
For more than 30 years, Jimmy's Egg has been starting people's day off right with hot, fresh, made-to-order food. Our eggs are fresh, cracked to order every time, and there are over 40,000 ways to craft your own omelet. With signature favorites like our meat lover's skillet or decadent cinnamon roll pancakes, it won't leave hungry. Breakfast and lunch is available every day from 6 a.m. to 2 p.m., so stop in today and let our friendly staff serve you.
Stop by and see us sometime.
Hard to believe that fall will soon be here. We have all new rebates and financing programs on all Mitsubishis, including 0% financing. The all-new 2018 Mitsubishi Eclipse Cross, $189 a month. The 2018 Outlander Sport, $17,995. All come with Mitsubishi's 10-year, 100,000-mile warranty, your own concierge service, and free loaners. Come see us at 15309 South Memorial, Bixby, or on the web at PrimeauxMitsubishi.com.
Every minute, every day, and every night, there's someone who needs us. Every week and every year, we bring something new to the way we care for individuals and our communities. Every thought and every action is spent improving the way we imagine health and wellness. Because every child, every woman, and every man deserves the best possible life. St. Francis Health System. Healthcare for life.
Robertson Tire has been your local tire expert since 1962. Now at RobertsonTire.com, it's easier than ever to get a customized quote. And with our price match guarantee, you can be sure that you're getting the best price. For more information, visit RobertsonTire.com.
Welcome back to Oklahoma Sportscene, brought to you by Jimmy's Egg. And boy, we've got a great guest today, somebody that I've known for a real long time. the former head basketball coach at the University of Tulsa, Oral Roberts University, New Mexico State, and Bradley High School. Ken Hayes. Ken, welcome to the Sports Scene.
Thank you, Gil. Good to be here.
You have a tremendous coaching background, Coach. Tell us a little bit about that.
Well, actually, I started coaching at Bradley, Oklahoma. And people say, where's that located? And I say, it's halfway between Cox City and Middleburg. And then they shake their head, and I said, well, do you know where Lindsay, Oklahoma is? 6 miles west of Lindsay is a place called Bradley, Oklahoma. It was a great start. 50 kids in the top 4 grades, 23 boys, 27 girls. And, we won 30 straight games my first year there, ranked second in the state, and God had found him a coach and put him here on earth. Those seniors graduated, and those fat sophomores showed up the next year. We couldn't beat anybody. That was a great lesson for me. That's when I realized how insignificant I was and how important talent is. That's why I recruited hard.
Kid, when you talk about that, I've got to think about Hughes High School during that period of time, over 50 years ago. That just doesn't seem possible. But yet, did we not have a good time?
Great memories. I'm going to a high school reunion this Sunday down at Lindsay, Oklahoma. Bradley has been closed for 51 years now, and there'll be at least 200 people there from Bradley alumni.
Well, you were a lot larger than we were. We had 46 in high school, and then you had 50. So that's
give us an advantage.
So, did you end up being the winningest coach in Bradley history?
Probably not, but I tell everybody I was.
So from Bradley, you moved to?
Well, I went to Stillwell. Great experience. I was assistant football coach for Frank Mobra. I didn't know a tackle from a quarterback. I was the only assistant he had, and he was kind enough and a great human being who reinforced a value system and work ethic that my parents gave me. From Stillwell, I went to Bacone Junior College, which was a great experience, and recruited hard. And we finished third in the nation in 1964 at Bacone. And then from there, I went to California to coach baseball, which was, is, and will always be my first love. This is a true story that not many people know. Enos Seymour and I became friends at Northeastern State. He was coaching junior high basketball and B-team baseball at Muskogee High School, and they finally I was the Department of 1 at Bacone. I did all the teaching, all the coaching, I was it. They're going to let me hire somebody. Enos, come on out. And well, anyway, after a while, okay, I'll come out. I said, now you take baseball or basketball, we're just going to coach. He said, no, I'll be your assistant for a year, then I'll decide. And for 2 weeks, I was on his back every day. Take one. He said, okay, I'll take baseball, my favorite sport. It worked out pretty well for him. He's in the Hall of Fame, so I guess everything is for a purpose.
Well, from there, you went on to?
Well, I went to California to coach baseball, as a matter of fact, and I stayed 8 months. Not because of baseball. I did not want to raise my children in that environment. As you know, it was a time of social upheaval everywhere, and particularly in the Berkeley, California area. And so Joe Swank had offered me a job before I went out, and he brought me back to the University of Tulsa. And I really give Joe Swank a lot of credit for my coaching career. He was the guy that gave me the opportunity, and I forever will be grateful for that opportunity.
And of course, then you went to?
Yeah, I was at the University of Tulsa 10 years, 3 years as assistant, 7 years as head coach, and from there I went to New Mexico State, which was a great experience. We had a lot of success there, and it was a new thing for me. At New Mexico, Texas Western at the time was Don Haskins, as you know, won a national championship. The Lobos up north were very successful. The Rio Grande Valley was just basketball. Football was something they did until basketball started. In Oklahoma, football is number one. They've earned that right. Great success, great tradition. And it was just the reverse at New Mexico State. They had all their success in basketball, and like I say, it was the first time I was ever in that kind of an environment, and it was a great experience for me. From there, I went to ORU, and I often say Ora laid hands on me, and I wound up in Tahlequah, Oklahoma for 14 fun years. And let me qualify that. Oral Roberts was one of the greatest human beings I ever met in my life. I loved the guy. He loved me. It was an unfortunate situation, and great school. Things work out.
Well, you went to Northeastern and had success there as well.
Well, I had a boss there that I had to contend with. Some guy named Gil Cloud was my athletic director, and I had to put up with him for a while. But it was a great time, and Gil was a great administrator, and he left his mark on Northeastern State.
Well, we had a good time.
Well, you got to tell them about a little of the food.
First road game. We always got $400 for the post-game meal, pre-game meal, that type of thing, and so we got a check. And the day before, I gave it to Coach Hayes, and the next morning he came in. We got beat, went to Northwestern and got beat, and he came in, put the check back on my desk. I said, "Coach, you didn't beat him?" He said, "No, we didn't win." That's how it goes, you don't win, you don't get to eat.
You talk about motivation, man. That's a big motivator.
Absolutely.
I start saying, I'll bet you won the next game.
Tell us about some of the great players you contacted, Coach.
I've often been asked, who is the greatest player you coach? And there's no way in the world I can answer that. Because they all do different things. One guy's the best defensive player, rebounder, shooter. They do different things. The guy that took it the furthest was a guy named Bobby Bingo Smith, who was, he was a bonus baby in baseball. He signed a football scholarship actually with the UCLA. He came to the University of Tulsa. He played in the NBA for 12 years, and he was by far the best athlete that I can tell you without reservation. He was the best athlete I was ever around because he could do it all. In fact, one day after basketball practice, they were having a track meet over on Harwell Field. He goes over in tennis shoes and still had his sweatpants on and high jumps 6'8", which and tennis shoes and warm-ups. So he's just a great athlete.
I was going to ask you, are there any aspects of coaching currently, because I know you still talk to a lot of current coaches, that you're glad you didn't have to deal with back in your day?
Yeah. There's so many rules, and it's impossible. I don't know how coaches abide by the rules because, back when I started coaching, the rule book was about that thick. And when I quit coaching, about that thick, and now it's about this thick. And I'll never forget, I went to a Garfinkel basketball camp one year up in Indiana where all the great players in the country were there for about 4 or 5 days. Obviously, every coach in America was there evaluating talent. The NCAA had 3 guys in the stands to make sure nobody violated the rules. Well, we had a rules discussion with those NCAA people. What about this rule? Well, that would be up to the committee. Well, what about this? Well, that would be up to the committee. They couldn't answer one question. The committee can interpret however they want. So they got a lot of leeway there.
Well, our deal was when we made that transition at Northeastern to Division II, and then I did another assignment at Upper Iowa University. Our moniker was the last one to call the NCAA got the right answer. So you just keep calling until you get the answer you want, because they would not put anything in writing.
Absolutely.
They would never put it in writing. So you talk to that one compliance guy that would tell you what you wanted to hear.
Yeah. A lot of people don't understand, they call this school on the carpet and, they're crooks and all that. It may be, for instance, I signed a contract at the University of Tulsa. If I violated an NCAA rule, my contract was null and void. And I told Dr. Twyman, the president, I'm going to sign this, but I'm going to tell you right now, if Willie Biles at the airport calls me and you don't have a way to the dorm, I'm going to go get him. That's a violation of the rule.
Yeah.
At ORU, I always try to create a family atmosphere with players. So we had hamburger cookout at my house. I invited the athletic director to the hamburger cookout. He didn't come. A week later, he calls and he said, that technically, he called the NCAA. And he called me in, he said, that technically is a violation, but it's not the type of violation they're looking for. So,
well, Ken, we really appreciate you being here today, and we want you to be able to have breakfast at Jimmy's Egg, who's our sponsor.
One of my favorite places.
Thank you very much. And we'll be right back after these words from our sponsors.
O'clock, 4 o'clock, rock. 5, 6, 7 o'clock, 8 o'clock, rock. 9, 10, 11 o'clock, 12 o'clock, rock. We're gonna rock around the clock tonight.
Remington Park is now officially open around the clock. That's right, we are 24/7.
We're gonna rock around the clock tonight. We're gonna rock till broad daylight. Gonna rock around the clock tonight.
So when we say the party never ends, you better believe it. Remington Park, now open 24/7.
Chase is forcing the turnover in front of Chance, back in and they score!
At Rogers State University, we keep things personal.
It all starts here.
We make sure our graduates get the most out of their education.
RSU has campuses in Claremore, Bartlesville, and Pryor, with on-campus housing and a wide variety of programs to suit your needs.
It all starts here.
Rogers State University.
Welcome back to Oklahoma Sportscene, and we have our special guest who's also one of our hosts today, and a good friend of mine. I think Kevin and I met in 1991 in Guthrie, Oklahoma. Kevin Ward of the Sports Animal. Kevin, welcome to Sportscene.
Thank you. Enjoy being here. This is awesome.
We're glad to have you, and tell us a little bit about your background and how you got into the media business.
Well, it actually started not too long before you and I met back in the late 80s. I was in Guthrie, and or that's where my start was. But I was in school at Oklahoma Christian College back then, which is now OC in Edmond. And I went there to play basketball. Decided I didn't have the skill level really to play on the NAI level like it was back at that time. And so I heard on radio that they were looking for a color analyst for the local broadcast on the little small campus station. And I thought, well, that'd be kind of fun. I'll throw my hat in the ring and see if I get selected. And sure enough, I got called and said, hey, you're our guy. And so I was all proud. And I said, well, how many guys did I beat out for the job? And they said, well, you were the only one who applied. And so I got the job by default. Never had any intention of getting into broadcasting because I was a PE major. I wanted to coach. And so I started my radio thing then in 1980, campus radio, and I really have been involved in radio ever since. I never changed my major, but I certainly changed my career path at that time.
Absolutely.
Well, do you ever regret not coaching?
I did a little bit of coaching actually when I was towards the end of my years at Oklahoma Christian. I coached 1 year at a little 8-man football program that was an independent team at the time, Living Word Academy in Oklahoma City, and coached girls softball as well. And my little taste of that was enough for me to realize radio is probably where I needed to be.
There you go. Well, tell us a little bit about the history of the Sports Animal. It seems like it just has grown and continued to grow statewide.
It has. It started in Oklahoma City, and actually I think in Norman, and then Oklahoma City, and started here in Tulsa. Probably 20 years ago or so, when David Stevens decided to flip 97.1 FM from a country station to the sports animal, and he was airing all of Oklahoma City's programming. And then he put Big Al Jerkins on in the middle of the day so we'd have a local show. And then at one time, and I apologize, he had it on AM 1550, not 97.1. It was on AM 1550, small station out of Sapulpa. When he decided to move everything on to 97.1, that's when he hired me to come in and be the program director of the station. And since then, of course, Pat Jones and Jerry Ostrowski have taken over that time slot. Patrick Masick is the host of our 9 to 11 local show and has a variety of co-hosts every week. But we've grown from 97.1 to 96.1 in the Grand Lake area, 101.1 in the Bartlesville area, and then we also have 2 other stations in the Grand Lake area as well. And we also have now ESPN is on AM 1550, and we have an FM station that's attached to ESPN, and so I manage all of those.
Well, goodness, anything you want in athletics or sports, you can get it right there.
We can get it, and that's why earlier I said, hey, if going into the 4 seasons with hockey, we'll have the Oilers on the ESPN station, of course the Thunder on 97.1 and 96.1. We'll continue to have the Kansas City Chiefs and Dallas Cowboys. And then, of course, we're wrapping up. We just wrapped up, unfortunately, the Cardinal baseball season. They did not make that second wild card spot. But we will have, because we're an ESPN affiliate, we'll have a variety of Major League Baseball playoff games all the way through the World Series.
How about Cleveland Browns? Any Cleveland Browns?
If they make it onto, well, see, it's not just ESPN radio. You also have Westwood One products. Right. There are other networks out there that have NFL available. Sure. And so whenever the Browns are available, I promise that we will select them and put them on the radio.
All right.
When you look at 97.1 and tune in, regardless of what your interest might be, it will come up.
Oh, absolutely. Well, we're caller friendly, and not every radio station encourages their listeners to call in and be a part of the program. We do on the Sports Animal. We carry the morning animals out of Oklahoma City on our Tulsa stations, but then we're local with our own programming from 9 until 2. And as I mentioned, with Coach and Jerry O, and then Jim Traber, the mouth of the South,
right.
Or I guess Southwest, is on from 2 until 8. I have worked with Jim in the past. In fact, I hosted his show the year that he was playing or doing radio in Arizona, and I was living in Oklahoma City at the time, working for the Animal down there.
Oh, I see.
I filled in and hosted his show. That's why I can jokingly call him the mouth of the South.
There you go.
He and I are friends. And then Al Eschbach, in the evening every weekday. So we've got something for everybody, no doubt, and a sport for everybody as well.
Well, that's fantastic. And we really appreciate, from a high school standpoint, your commitment to high school sports and covering the games that you do, and the scoreboard show on Friday night.
Yep.
Always, when I'm driving back from a stadium, I'm always tuning in. And
and you've been kind enough to text me when we didn't have a score. We needed a TPS score. I could always count.
Absolutely.
I can always count on a text from Gil Cloud.
We're glad you're here, and we want you to go to Jimmy's Egg on us.
Oh, well, thank you.
Have breakfast. And
that's awesome.
We'll be back in just a moment.
Hard to believe that fall will soon be here. We have all new rebates and financing programs on all Mitsubishis, including 0% financing. The all-new 2018 Mitsubishi Eclipse Cross, $189 a month. The 2018 Outlander Sport, $17,995. All come with Mitsubishi's 10-year, 100,000-mile warranty, your own concierge service, and free loaners. Come see us at 15309 South Memorial, Bixby, or on the web at PrimeauxMitsubishi.com.
Welcome to Jimmy's Egg. Come on in.
For more than 30 years, Jimmy's Egg has been starting people's day off right with hot, fresh, made-to-order food. Our eggs are fresh, cracked to order every time, and there are over 40,000 ways to craft your own omelet. With signature favorites like our meat lover's skillet or decadent cinnamon roll pancakes, it won't leave hungry. Breakfast and lunch is available every day from 6 a.m. to 2 p.m., so stop in today and let our friendly staff serve you.
Stop by and see us sometime.
Robertson Tire has been locally owned and serving Tulsa for the past 50 years, but we're much more than a tire shop. We handle alignments, oil changes, brakes, and much more. For all our services, coupons, and location information, visit us online at robertsontire.com.
Welcome back to Oklahoma Sports Scene. Chris Lincoln made his way down to Oklahoma City for the press conference for the Oklahoma City Thunder, and we have a clip of that now.
We're inside the Chesapeake Arena for Oklahoma City Thunder's Media Day. The Thunder started their preseason training camp this past Tuesday, and now this Sunday they'll have their final preseason game as they host the Atlanta Hawks in a 2 p.m. tip at the BOK Center. What's Media Day all about? Well, it's about a lot of wild photos and wild events, and I think you'll enjoy it. Take a look at what Thomas and Trevor put together for you. The sights and sounds of the Oklahoma City Thunder Media Day. We also had access to the players and coaches of the Thunder staff, starting with their head coach, Billy Donovan. I asked Billy about the training camp, what he has for goals, what he hopes to get answers to questions for this Thunder team this season.
I think the biggest thing for us is the consistency part. Consistently playing to a style and an identity that we need to, game to game. I think that starts trying to establish that identity and style of how you want to play tomorrow. And I think that's what we've got to do. We've got to be willing to put the work in to create and have an identity that's going to be something that we can rely on that helps us be a more consistent team than we were a year ago.
I mean, every year since I've been here, and I've tried to involve my leadership. I think that's something that I take very, very personal, and I think it's very, very important. From the outside looking in, you can't really tell what leadership is unless you know what goes on from a day-to-day basis. And for me, I take that upon myself to be able to create relationships with different guys. Obviously now with new guys on our team, it's important, and different things of how we do it around here. So definitely this year is going to be big in that aspect for me. It's just to continue to do what I've been doing.
During the season, to start the season off, I was just open. Very open about the situation. And, in order for me to do that, for me to give everything I had and for me to be committed, I had to be open about coming here. Otherwise, I would have been, not giving the team every bit of effort or, it just would have been something that I was holding back. So, I just told myself to start the process off and just give this team everything I have and see what happens. And obviously, I've developed some good relationships with Russ, with Steven, with Dre, with Coach Donovan, Sam Presti, Clay. I just developed these really good relationships here, almost feeling like I've been here for a while. And then just over the course of the whole season, it just steamrolled, just got better and better, and here I am.
Just accepting challenges, and that's how I've been, my whole life. Just taking things right on, and I knew coming here that there'd be some challenges, and guys, certain things would be demanded, and I was 110% ready for that, and this team is definitely built, I think the right way with the right pieces. Of guys that can, really complement off each other and, just go out there and play their own game, just naturally. So that's, another reason why, I was really so, attracted to this situation and, Russ, PG, the leadership as well.
I mean, it's always a different crew, but one of the main things is that the culture that the organization has built, it's, you have your front runners, obviously Russ, for instance, like leading us, like it's, you come in excited always. Whatever the season is, whoever you have, because you just can't ignore it. Like you can't just be kind of like whatever, especially in this organization because everything's done so well. So yeah, it's just one of those things, mate. It's always been that vibe from last year before, since my rookie season. It's always been that.
This is the Thunder's 11th season in Oklahoma City. They actually tip it off on the road, the 82-game schedule against the defending NBA champions at Golden State on October 16th. Now, October 21st, it's a home opener here in the Chesapeake Arena as they'll take on Sacramento. On Media Day with the Oklahoma City Thunder, I'm Chris Lincoln for the Oklahoma Sports Scene.
Well, what a great report by Chris. I think that's outstanding. They're going to be here in town, aren't they, Kevin?
They are on Sunday. Trae Young, the former Sooner All-American, will be playing for Atlanta, so that gives us more emphasis on getting down to the BOK to watch the game. But, of course, if you can't get down to the game, you can always tune in on
97.1, the Animal.
I got them trained. It's awesome.
Absolutely.
But it should be a full house.
Oh, I think so. I was fortunate to be able to go to the very first one they had at the BOK Center. I was in the oil and gas business for 8 months at that time and had free tickets. And so I went and saw that. It's a different experience, the exhibition game. You don't get to see everybody play, but support the Thunder. They'll be here in town this Sunday, and we will be back after these messages.
There is no limit to what we will do to help the next generation. As Oklahoma's only affiliate of St. Jude Children's Research Hospital, we are able to deliver state-of-the-art treatment and the most innovative clinical trials to kids with cancer and blood disorders. This is truly world-class care, right here at home. The St. Jude Affiliate Clinic at the Children's Hospital at St. Francis. Healthcare for life.
I want to encourage all of you to take a look at the GTR. Forrest Cameron and his wife Sharon do a tremendous job with the GTR of bringing news from metropolitan Tulsa that a lot of places you don't get. Whatever it might be, if it is medicine, if it's politics, if it's religion, whatever you want, you can find in the GTR. So let me encourage you to pick up a GTR, and you'll be glad you did, and you'll do it every month.
Hard to believe that fall will soon be here. We have all new rebates and financing programs on all Mitsubishis, including 0% financing. The all-new 2018 Mitsubishi Eclipse Cross, $189 a month. The 2018 Outlander Sport, $17,995. All come with Mitsubishi's 10-year, 100,000-mile warranty, your own concierge service, and free loaners. Come see us at 15309 South Memorial, Bixby, or on the web at PrimeauxMitsubishi.com.
Welcome back to Oklahoma Sports Scene, and we have two of our favorite guests who are on every month when we talk about the student athlete and the coach of the month. Henry Primeaux from Henry Primeaux Mitsubishi, and we got Barry Lewis from the Tulsa World. Barry, who are our award winners this week?
All right, our athlete of the month is Regent Prep's Ellie Gilbreth, and she is attempting this year to become only the 6th female in state history to win 4 consecutive state cross-country championships, and she's certainly off to a fine start this year. She's won 2 meets already and has finished second in the other. And she's got 7 in her career already, 7 golds, 3 in cross country, 4 in track. So Ellie Gilbreth of Regent Prep is our athlete of the month.
And who's the coach?
Congratulations, Ellie.
And our coach is Wagner football coach Dale Condick. And of course, he's the coach of the month, but we could also say he's the coach of the last 4 years. I mean, when you go back to this point in 2014, since then, he is 53-1. That is just amazing. And a lot of people thought that Wagner was going to be down this year. They graduated a lot of key players from last year's team. But what do you know? Wagner is 5-0. They're rolling along. And early in September, he passed the 200th career win mark in his career. So Dale Condick of Wagner is our coach of the month.
Congratulations, Dale.
Fantastic. And we really appreciate you, Henry, sponsoring this for these coaches.
That's a pleasure.
Student athletes. It means a lot to the high school kids, I can tell you. So tell us, we've got about a minute to talk about high school sports right now. What do you think? We're halfway through the season in football.
Looks like Broken Arrow is a clear favorite in 6A1 to win its first ever state title, and what a accomplishment that would be if Broken Arrow can do it. However, not going to count out Union. It looks like they've started to turn things around. And of course, Jenks is off to a great start, and I think those are the three teams to really look at, although I don't want to count out Owasso either. So
nobody on the West.
I know a lot of people like Edmond Santa Fe, and so we'll see next week when Edmond Santa Fe hosts Broken Arrow.
Yeah, that'd be a big one.
Shameless plug. You can hear Broken Arrow football on 97.1.
There we go.
There you go.
Not really shameless, just a plug.
Well, Henry, what kind of memorabilia do you have with us
we got all kind of stuff today. Let's see. Well, here's a quiz. Y'all remember Swoop?
Tulsa Talons.
Oh, yes.
What is the last team that Wayne Gretzky played for?
Tulsa Talons.
Close.
New York Rangers.
You know that stuff.
Nice, Barry. Did he win whatever he wants on the table?
The reason I brought this today, and I have the drop seats today, folks. We'll be right with you. This is a New York Ranger puck signed by Wayne, and I just checked it before I came out here, and that is the last team that he played for. You know, we always do good with baseballs, and here's a Mickey Mantle. And he was Hall of Fame in 1974, and this ball was signed in 1974. So this is a good one. I've got a World Series ball here, signed by Roger Maris. And I have it in plastic because Roger's stuff, is very rare, and this is good to have. And Joe DiMaggio, always the Holy Trinity, Joe DiMaggio, Ted Williams, and Mickey Mantle. And Ted happens to have a little button. You guys liked the buttons the other day. And just to show you, it's not just the sports figures. Here's a Charlie Pride.
Charlie Pride, all right.
And a Bert Sugar. Bert was here for fight night, and I got him to sign his book and his and that. And he just passed away, so it's really a big loss for boxing. And at Gretzky, I was telling the guys a story from the Oilers. Gary Unger played with Gretzky. And I had about 50 Sports Illustrated and hockey magazines, all with Gretzky. So I'm going to an All-Star game. Give them to me. I'll get him to sign them. Yeah, Gary, you're going to do that. Box them up. He signed every one of them, and he used 3 Sharpies, and he sent us the Sharpies back. So here's something that most people have never seen. Most of you young people out there, you have no idea what this is probably.
And they don't know what they're missing either.
But this is the first magazine of Mad Magazine, first copy of Mad Magazine, which has been a sick person's institution.
There you go.
Since July 1955.
Had it when I was a kid, for sure.
Alfred E. Newman, What Me Worry, that's Mad Magazine.
Absolutely.
So I just thought I'd bring those. Now, next time, we're going to have bobblehead night.
All right.
I'm going to bring in some 75-year-old bobbleheads. Matter of fact, I just bought some, not baubles, but things that used to be sold in New York, little statues. Just bought some in an auction, just pretty good.
You know what's interesting, Henry? Kids these days won't be able to read this. It's cursive.
It's cursive.
That's right.
Might as well be Mandarin.
That's right. Well, they're talking about Babe Ruth baseballs, and I showed you guys a couple of them. When you buy a Babe Ruth baseball, make sure it's in fountain pen because they didn't have ballpoints back then.
Exactly.
I was offered for $20,000 an autographed ball by Joe Jackson, except for one thing: Joe couldn't read and write. There are no balls signed by Joe Jackson.
Well, I really appreciate you and appreciate sponsoring our Coach and Student Athlete of the Month. And get out to South Memorial and buy a Mitsubishi, right?
Please do.
Absolutely.
We need the business.
We'll be right back after this.
Welcome to Jimmy's Egg. Come on in.
For more than 30 years, Jimmy's Egg has been starting people's day off right with hot, fresh, made-to-order food. Our eggs are fresh, cracked to order every time, and there are over 40,000 ways to craft your own omelet. With signature favorites like our meat lover's skillet or decadent cinnamon roll pancakes, you won't leave hungry. Breakfast and lunch is available every day from 6 a.m. to 2 p.m., so stop in today and let our friendly staff serve you.
Stop by and see us sometime.
Already.
Are you ready? Your room is gonna be so cute.
pacesetter in higher education and leads the nation in the number of National Merit Scholars enrolled. Your journey continues here at the University of Oklahoma.
Ago, a race began along a quarter mile of dirt and dreams in Oklahoma City. Today, with the biggest prize money and the best horses, that glittering quarter mile is home to the best quarter horse racing on earth. Remington Park proudly presents our biggest quarter horse season ever, celebrating 30 years of hard racing fun. World's best, OKC's own, Remington Park.
Welcome back to Oklahoma Sportscene. Boy, what a weekend at Remington Park with the Oklahoma Derby. Dale Day has got the report for us. Take it away, Dale.
The biggest day in Oklahoma thoroughbred racing has taken place, and it was a roaring success at Remington Park here in Oklahoma City, as for the first time ever, 2 graded national stakes races were contested on the same card. The Grade 3 Remington Park Oaks and the Grade 3 Oklahoma Derby were the headliners on Oklahoma Derby Day, featuring 10 stakes races in all. Jockey Ricardo Santana rallying to win the Remington Park Oaks with She's a Julie. Top of the stretch in the Oaks. She's a Julie outside. Inside, Remedy now being asked. Cosmic Burst has room. We'll try to split rivals. They're in the stretch. Race on. Hold Her Tight is 4th to the outside. She's a Julie has the lead. Inside the furlong pole at the 16th. Up by length. Cosmic Burst trying to get up into 2nd. Inside, Remedy fights on strong. She's a Julie takes the Remington Park Oaks by a length and a half. The 4th win on the day for Santana and his trainer, Stephen Asmussen, who conditioned She's the Julie. For Asmussen overall, his 3rd victory in the Remington Park Oaks. Up next, the main event, the Grade 3 $400,000 Oklahoma Derby. Lone Sailor finally gets his Derby win and his 2nd career victory after running 2nd in the Super Derby, 3rd in the Haskell, 2nd in the Ohio Derby, 5th in the Preakness, and 2nd in the Louisiana Derby. He was 8th in the Kentucky Derby, his worst showing of the year. Clear. Seafoam trying to keep up as they enter the stretch of the Derby. After 6 furlongs, 1 minute, 11.21. Diamond King by 2. Seafoam outside and rolling. Here comes Lone Sailor. Also, Believe in Royalty. Inside the furlong pole in the Derby, Diamond King is all out. Believe in Royalty charges on. Lone Sailor, could this be his day? Lone Sailor, Diamond King, nose to nose photo, 3-way photo in the Oklahoma Derby. Lone Sailor gets the victory under James Graham, trained by Tom Amos, GMB Racing of Metairie, Louisiana, the winning owners. Lone Sailor the winner in the best finish ever in Oklahoma Derby history, a 3-way photo with noses apart, Lone Sailor on top, Believe in Royalty, Tough Luck 2nd, 3rd the 7, Diamond King, who led all the way and almost held on. It was a great Oklahoma Derby day at Remington Park, and now into the month of October, we look forward to the big Oklahoma Classics card on Friday, October 19th, a $1 million night of races for Oklahoma-bred thoroughbreds. In Oklahoma City at Remington Park, I'm Dale Day. Now back to Sportscene.
What a weekend at Remington Park, and boy, it's great to have the Oklahoma Derby, and and we've had Scott Wells and we've had Dale Day here, and they've told us, that really, other than Churchill Downs, Remington Park is about the 2nd most popular track in America.
And it is, as far as the quarter horse is concerned, it is, I think, the most popular track.
They have the thoroughbreds, though, and they run the fall.
Yes.
And some of those are qualifying to be in the Kentucky Derby. So I think that's fantastic. And of course, they're good friends of ours. They'll be going with our weekly program that we're going to announce a little bit later in the show. But it's exciting for them to have, and they've partnered with the Chickashaws because now they have the casino along with the racing. And so it's a weekend when you want to go to Oklahoma City.
Well, I know in the past we've actually carried the 3 big races on radio, and it literally is, because the whole race lasts about a minute. It's what is the term, the most exciting 60 seconds in sport,
right?
Especially the Kentucky Derby, because that sets up the other 2 races, and so you want to certainly follow the 2nd race to see if you get a winner, and then obviously you're going to go to the 3rd race to see if that horse can win the Triple Crown. So that is an exciting, probably about 8 weeks or so of horse racing from the start of the Derby.
I tell you what, and of course you go to Remington and know in what's 20 years that they've been in Oklahoma City, and what a great opportunity for Oklahomans to be able to have that weekend to go to the track and get away. I think I was fortunate when I grew up. I grew up a mile and a half from Churchill Downs in Louisville, Kentucky. And,
spoiled Mudge?
I really did not even know what I had. I mean, I went to 2 Kentucky Derbies before I could know what it was.
Yeah.
And so to be able to have that opportunity, I think is a fantastic thing.
Well, what's interesting too, and this is the race obviously is huge, but Churchill Downs is kind of a dump. Remington Park is a palace.
It's
very nice.
Beautiful.
Churchill, I remember people, would talk about Madison Square Garden and what a great, that my first trip to Madison Square Garden was right after the circus was in town. And so it not only was just kind of a plain big old concrete structure, but it smelled like, elephant dung, on top of that. So wasn't much, of a visit for me.
Right.
Well, the great thing about Remington Park to me is once that the racing is over, the casino stays open all night. Mm-hmm. So, you win on the track, then you got a chance to go win in the, man, can you beat that?
And the food's great too.
It's great food. Yep. There's a Bricktown Brewery in there who is one of our other sponsors. Mm-hmm. And, it's just really a great partnership that we have with Dale Day and Scott Wells and our friends over at Remington Park. And we're really proud that they're a part of Oklahoma Sportscene. So make sure that if you have a chance, the racing goes until the middle of December. You have an opportunity to see thoroughbred racing at its best as they prepare for the Kentucky Derby. We'll be right back after these words from our sponsors.
Hard to believe that fall will soon be here. We have all new rebates and financing programs on all Mitsubishis, including 0% financing. The all-new 2018 Mitsubishi Eclipse Cross, $189 a month. The 2018 Outlander Sport, $17,995. All come with Mitsubishi's 10-year, 100,000-mile warranty, your own concierge service, and free loaners. Come see us at 15309 South Memorial, Bixby, or on the web at PrimeauxMitsubishi.com.
Welcome to Jimmy's Egg. Come on in.
For more than 30 years, Jimmy's Egg has been starting people's day off right with hot, fresh, made-to-order food. Our eggs are fresh, cracked to order every time, and there are over 40,000 ways to craft your own omelet. With signature favorites like our meat lover skillet or decadent cinnamon roll pancakes, it won't leave hungry. Breakfast and lunch is available every day from 6 a.m. to 2 p.m., so stop in today and let our friendly staff serve you.
Stop by and see us sometime.
Rising from the plains of Oklahoma is a destination for scholars and thinkers, dreamers and doers. This is where hope, hard work, and integrity create tomorrow's catalysts for change. And excellence is the standard demanded not only of your head, but your heart. This is Oklahoma State University, America's brightest orange.
Here at Robertson Tire, we love Tulsa. And over the past 50 years, we've partnered with local schools, churches, and charitable organizations. To learn more, visit us online at robertsontire.com.
Welcome back to Oklahoma Sports Scene. As we wrap up our show, let's talk about the Tulsa Roughnecks. They play at home on Sunday the 6th when they play the Rio Grande Valley Toros. Go out and support our local coach, Coach Nason, who is a BTW grad, who took over in the middle of the season, and they've really responded. He's played well as we go. And now we come to our parting shots. JV, what is your parting shot?
My parting shot is something that is happening, I think, in high school sports in general. And that's the fact that it just doesn't seem like enough people go in and support, especially in football, if they're not winning every game. So if they go 5-5 on a year, they've had a great year for the kids. And you should, as a former student at that particular school, or if you're just interested in high school football, or whether it could be soccer or any other sport that the high school may be playing, but get out and support those high school kids. They need your help. and they will appreciate it so much, and I think you will enjoy it.
I'm going to go with Jim Furyk, the basically head coach of the U.S. Ryder Cup team, who I think made a lot of mistakes in who he played, who he didn't play, who he matched up against. Phil Mickelson was not playing very well. He was a captain's pick. The captain's picks only won 2 points, actually two half points the whole weekend long. And so I think Jim Furyk really holds a lot of the blame for how poorly the U.S. played against the Europeans over in France, even though the golfers themselves didn't produce much either. But to watch Phil Mickelson kind of lug around the golf course on Sunday, he looked disheveled just in what he was wearing, and obviously his game matched his play. And so I think that I'm going to have to nominate Jim Furyk.
My parting shot is a big announcement. Oklahoma Sportscene will be going weekly, starting with this program. We'll be on every Monday when we tape, and the original show will be on Wednesdays at 10 p.m. And, of course, the 2 shots on Sunday at 9 and 2 p.m., and then on Monday at 6 p.m. And, of course, other times as selected. We want to thank Brad Groh with Bricktown Brewery and our Jimmy's Egg for having the faith in us and making us go to the weekly format. We'll be able to do more things. We'll be able to talk about up-to-date information, and we're really, really excited as we move into the weekly shows beginning with this month. So make sure that you're with us this next time when we do our show from the Bricktown Brewery on Peoria, 33rd and Peoria. That'll be filmed on October the 8th. We'll begin at 5:30. I want to make sure you come and join us, and shoot, you might be on TV. I don't know. We might be able to get some guest stars to come while we're there at Bricktown. But we're excited about going to do that. And then the next Monday night will be at Jimmy's Egg, and that will be at 71st and Garnett. So the on locations are really going to be neat to be able to meet the people out there and talk about sports and do all the things that we need to do. So, guys, what do you think about our show today?
I enjoyed it. And, you know, when you take a look at the relaxation of everyone that was on the show today, I thought it was great.
Well, I did too, and I appreciated being here. And first time I've actually got to meet Coach Trickey, and
Coach
always.
Hayes.
I'm sorry, Coach Hayes. What was I thinking? I haven't met Coach Trickey though either, so I'm looking forward to that. But Henry Primeaux was always a delight, and you know what can you say about Barry Lewis? The guy, you know, knows everything that there is to know about Oklahoma sports, and very knowledgeable, and obviously a fine writer for the Tulsa World.
It is always it was great to have Barry and Henry, and like I say, I thank them because they emphasize high school athletics, and I think that's really something very, very important in our state, because that's where so many of these kids get their start before they go to the Division I, Division II, up into the pros and so on. And it's an exciting time in Oklahoma. You know, it's we're right in the middle of district football time, and we're winding down with our cross country and softball regionals are this week and state tournaments next week. So we're really excited to be here. We'll be on every week, and we'll be able to give you the up-to-date information you need to know. And if not, you can always hear it on 97.1 The Animal. We'll see you next time when we'll be at Bricktown Brewery in Peoria.